Now, on the technology side is what changes the world the most, and that, of course, is Bitcoin, this technological revolution. And I know a lot of you might be skeptical about the volatility of the US dollar valuation. It used to be 50,000 or 60,000, and now it's 30,000, right? And so you kind of get some of that. But as I always say, the price is a distraction. On brand new technologies, the price is a distraction. Not always, but on brand new technologies. And what we really want to look at is two things: the growth of the network, and we also want to look at the technology development on the network. Now, technology scales in layers just like the monetary system does. So gold was money, and it was a base settlement layer. If I had the gold, I had the gold. If I gave you the gold, you have the gold. But then we moved into the information age, and so then gold added a layer two. The gold goes in the bank. They give me a paper gold certificate. That's a gold claim, an IOU. Now, we can move the paper much faster, but it's not as secure. Then we have checks, that's layer 3. Then we have credit cards, that's layer 4. Now we have Venmo and PayPal, that's layer 5. And so we have all these different layers, and each of those layers offer us different trade-offs. And Bitcoin, a lot of people would say, well, Bitcoin's old. Come on, Mark. Bitcoin's the stupidest, oldest, dumbest, slowest blockchain out there. We want something faster. Well, that's true, kind of, except for technology scales and layers. That's the internet scales as well. If we had the internet, we want email. Great. We'll put another layer on, SMTP. Oh, we want security. Great. Throw another layer on, HTTPS. And that's how technology works. So if you make that argument, if you want to argue with me on that, that just kind of shows you don't understand technology. Hate to tell you that. So we are scaling Bitcoin in layers, and now we have these layer 2 and we have layer 3 applications on top of Bitcoin. And so now with layer 2 applications, you can already send Bitcoin faster and cheaper and more private than any other cryptocurrency out there. So every other blockchain cryptocurrency that says they're faster, cheaper, and more private, well, they're all obsolete now. Now we're running NFTs on blockchain. So all these other blockchains that say, well, but we can do smart contracts and NFTs, well, we're doing that on the Bitcoin blockchain now. So those are all obsolete. And talking about new development, we saw announced at the Bitcoin conference last week a new layer 2 protocol called ARC. And what's cool about ARC is it's giving you layer 2 scalability, allowing you to be faster and cheaper and more private, but easier. All right. So some people might say Lightning, which is kind of the main layer 2 channel right now. People might say that Lightning is difficult to use. It's hard to open up channels, things like that. And of course, things get easier over time. So the problem that we have with it today won't always be the problem. That's what solutions are for. But what we're seeing is that now we have another one, a competing one, which is good. More development, and this makes it way easier. And that's really cool. And speaking of ARC, that's the name of this new layer 2 protocol. Speaking of ARC, we have Kathy Wood from ARC. She runs a large technology ETF called ARC. And she's talking about, this week, she was talking about how the U.S., unfortunately, seems to be losing this whole movement. She's the founder of investment manager ARK Invest. And she's talking about how it's losing the movement because of the regulatory system that it's imposing, and how they're basically forcing this off the coast. She said, quote, "It'd be nice if the U.S. were leading this movement, but we're losing it. And we're losing it because of our regulatory system," end quote. The regulators, the government, they don't like innovation. They don't like things moving. Christine Lagarde, who is the head of the IMF now, she's head of the ECB, European Central Bank, she said that innovation is a threat to our financial stability. And that's actually true. She's actually right, but that's a good thing. So yes, it's disrupting the old system. So yes, it makes the old system less stable, but in favor of a new, better system. That's called creative destruction. A new technology comes along that's so much better that it destroys the old way. Digital cameras or digital photos on cameras were so much better that a 100-year-old company like Kodak went out of business. Now, Kodak could have stopped the entire digital camera movement, and we could have just stuck having to use, expensive and harmful chemicals in traditional old school film. Kodak could have still been the biggest company today in that space, but we wouldn't have the innovation, which has changed the world as we know it, and we want to have that. We want pictures to be easier and faster, cheaper, etc. And so that's what they want to do. They want to stop that. And these regulators are doing this, as Kathy Wood is saying. They're driving it overseas. But overseas are pretty hostile as well. We saw the European Union said that their banks could potentially stop or take over the cryptocurrency stable coins. And so they want to stop that. They want to put all types of regulations there. Inside the United States, Senator Elizabeth Warren is literally running on a campaign to an anti-crypto campaign, literally an anti-technology campaign. It reminds me of the Luddites. Have you ever heard that word before? The Luddites were the ones that were very opposed to the Industrial Revolution. So 250 years ago, the entire world was, agriculture, farming, and cottage industry. And then we had the Industrial Revolution that created machines. And the machines could do the work of 5,000 men. But what about all those 5,000 men? What are they going to do? And so the Luddites didn't want this to happen. And they tried to stop it. They tried to block it. They tried to prevent it. They went and damaged it. They destroyed this technology because they didn't want it to be there. What's going to happen to the old system of working, toiling by hand in the field? What will these 5,000 men do? Well, it turns out they did, science and medicine and technology and other more important things. And so these Luddites, like Senator Elizabeth Warren, they want to stop it. Literally running an anti-crypto campaign. It's insane. She's saying that this Digital Asset Money Laundering Act that she's trying to push forward is basically going to kill it as we know it. Because, again, it's a threat to their system. Now, the insanity that we have groundbreaking, revolutionary technology like Bitcoin, blockchain, cryptocurrency, like AI, that's literally going to change the world for the future for my kids, your kids, grandkids, et cetera. And we have 80-year-olds in office making decisions. Now, the average age for a Fortune 500 CEO is 55. I don't think there's really any CEOs in Fortune 500 after like 65. They can't, it's not their fault. I'm sorry if you fall into this camp, but you're just not up to the same technology standards as the kids are. And to have 80-year-olds passing bills like the Luddites trying to stop progress is insane.